Have you ever wondered how an event from your past can shape your present and future? It's a question we often overlook, yet it holds the key to understanding ourselves, our behaviors, and our interactions with the world around us. This is the realm of trauma, a psychological wound that can be as impactful as any physical injury, yet often remains unseen and underestimated trauma. A word that carries a heavy weight yet is frequently misunderstood. It's not just about the dramatic, life-altering events we see in movies. It's also the subtle, persistent, and often ignored experiences that shape our lives in profound ways. Trauma has the ability to alter our perceptions, modify our behaviors, and even change the course of our lives. What's intriguing is that trauma isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. There are different types of trauma, each with its unique characteristics and effects. Among these, two stand out prominently: childhood trauma and adult trauma. Childhood trauma, the experiences that shape our formative years, has a profound influence on our development. It's like a mold that shapes the clay of our personalities, influencing how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. It's a shadow that can follow us into adulthood, subtly influencing our decisions and actions. Then there's adult trauma. These are the experiences that strike us in our mature years, when we've already formed a clear sense of self. They can shake our foundations, challenging our established beliefs and perceptions. These traumas can act as catalysts, forcing us to reassess our lives and perhaps take a new path. In the following scenes, we'll be exploring these two categories of trauma in more detail. We'll delve into their specific characteristics, their effects, and the ways they influence our lives. We'll also discuss the potential ways to heal and grow from these experiences. Understanding trauma allows us to better navigate our lives and relationships, so let's dive in to uncover the unseen. Because when we bring the unseen into the light, we can begin to understand, heal, and ultimately transform. Childhood, an innocent time of life for many, yet for some, it's shadowed by experiences that leave a lasting impact. Childhood trauma is not simply a case of bad memories. It's a profound and enduring hurt that can shape a person's life far into the future. The causes of childhood trauma are varied. It could stem from neglect, physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, witnessing domestic violence, or even the sudden loss of a loved one. This type of trauma is particularly insidious because it occurs during a critical period of brain development. When a child's world is saturated with fear and insecurity, the brain wires itself to survive in this hostile environment. This survival-based wiring is ill-suited to a peaceful, secure world and can lead to a host of issues later in life. Let's imagine a young boy named Alex. Alex's parents are always fighting. The hostility and unpredictability in his home make him constantly anxious. This constant state of alertness, while useful in navigating his turbulent home life, doesn't switch off when he's at school or with friends. As an adult, Alex may find it difficult to trust others and form healthy relationships. He may overreact to minor conflicts, perceiving them as major threats because his brain is wired for survival, not peace. Or consider Lisa, who lost her mother at a young age. The sudden loss, coupled with the grief that followed, could lead to her developing attachment issues in adulthood. She might find it hard to form close relationships for fear of experiencing that kind of loss again. It's important to understand that these reactions are not faults or weaknesses. They are survival strategies that were once effective but may now be maladaptive. The effects of childhood trauma can be pervasive and long-lasting, affecting a person's worldview, relationships, and even physical health. But acknowledging this is not about laying blame or dwelling in the past. It's about recognizing the echoes of these early experiences in our adult lives. The echoes of childhood trauma can be heard throughout life, subtly influencing decisions and reactions. While childhood trauma is often hidden in the shadows of the past, adult trauma is a burden carried in the light of the present. Trauma in adulthood is a complex and multifaceted issue. Unlike childhood trauma, which often lurks in the murky waters of forgotten memories, adult trauma is typically more tangible, more immediate. It can stem from a variety of sources, such as shocking events or prolonged periods of extreme stress. Imagine for a moment being in a severe car crash. The sudden shock, the fear, the pain. These are all elements that could potentially trigger trauma. Similarly, a soldier returning from war might carry the weight of traumatic experiences from the battlefield. These are examples of specific, identifiable events that can lead to adult trauma. But it's not always about one single incident. Sometimes it's a combination of ongoing pressures or chronic stress that builds up over time. For instance, someone working in a highly stressful job or living in an abusive relationship may gradually develop symptoms of trauma. It's like a pot of water on the stove. The heat slowly increases until it reaches a boiling point. So how does adult trauma manifest itself? Well, it can affect both mental health and daily functioning. It might show up as anxiety or depression, or perhaps a sense of being constantly on edge. It could lead to difficulty sleeping or challenges in maintaining relationships. It might even trigger physical symptoms like headaches or stomach aches. The impacts of adult trauma are as varied as the people who experience it. It's also important to realize that trauma can change our perception of ourselves and the world around us. It can make us feel disconnected or isolated, like we're carrying a heavy weight that others can't see. In essence, adult trauma is a profound interruption of a person's sense of safety and well-being. It's a deep wound that needs time, patience, and often professional help to heal. Adult trauma, often more visible, can be a heavy weight to bear, impacting our day-to-day lives and sense of self. While both childhood and adult trauma leave their mark, they do so in distinct ways. Childhood trauma is often rooted in the early years of life, a period when a child's mind is developing and particularly impressionable. It might stem from circumstances like neglect, abuse, or witnessing violence. These experiences can affect a child's ability to form healthy relationships and impair cognitive and emotional development. The impact of childhood trauma can be long-lasting, manifesting in adulthood as anxiety, depression, or post-traumatic stress disorder. On the other hand, adult trauma typically arises from events experienced in adulthood. This might include instances like serving in a war, surviving a natural disaster, or enduring a violent attack. The effect of such experiences can be immediate and intense, leading to a range of emotional and psychological symptoms such as flashbacks, nightmares, or emotional numbness. However, the key distinction between childhood and adult trauma is not the cause or manifestation, but the context in which they occur. Children, due to their limited understanding and lack of control over their environment, are often unable to process traumatic events in the same way adults can. Their coping mechanisms are still developing, making it more difficult for them to navigate through the aftermath of trauma. Conversely, adults with their fully developed cognitive abilities generally have a better grasp of the situation. They are more capable of seeking help, understanding their emotions, and employing coping strategies. However, this doesn't make the experience of trauma any less severe for adults. The emotional and psychological impact can be just as debilitating, affecting their relationships, self-esteem, and overall quality of life. Though the experiences differ, it's crucial to note that both forms of trauma are equally significant. They both require recognition, understanding, and care. The journey towards healing from trauma is a personal one, differing from person to person. It's not about comparing one's experiences to another's, but about acknowledging the pain, seeking help, and working towards recovery. Whether hidden in the past or carried in the present, trauma is a burden that requires recognition, understanding, and healing. Acknowledging trauma is the first step on the path to healing. It's a simple truth, yet one that many of us find challenging to embrace. The journey to healing isn't a straight line, nor is it a journey that we can rush. It's a winding path, filled with moments of self-discovery, acceptance, and growth. Recognizing and addressing trauma, whether it's a scar from childhood or a wound from adulthood, is paramount to the healing process. It's about allowing yourself to feel, to grieve, to acknowledge the pain. It's about understanding that it's okay to not be okay, and that it's okay to seek help. It's about breaking down the walls of silence and shame that often surround trauma. Seeking professional help can be an invaluable part of this journey. Therapists, psychologists, and counselors are equipped with the tools, knowledge, and skills to guide us through the complexities of trauma. They can provide us with coping strategies, help us understand our emotions, and offer a safe space for us to explore our experiences. Alongside professional help, practicing self-care is an essential component of healing. This can take many forms, from maintaining a healthy diet and incorporating physical activity into your routine, to investing time in hobbies that bring you joy and practicing mindfulness or meditation. It's about learning to prioritize your well-being and understanding that taking care of yourself is not an act of selfishness, but an act of necessity. Building a supportive network is another crucial step on this journey. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who understand your struggles, who can offer a listening ear or a shoulder to lean on. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. There are people who care, people who want to help, and people who have walked a similar path. Trauma may shape us, but it does not have to define us. The path to healing is a journey of self-discovery and growth. And remember, every step you take on this path, no matter how small, is a step toward healing, toward understanding, and toward a stronger, healthier you.